Inversion, patterns, and the spaces between objects. I want to continue exploring the idea of conversion and inversion. One interesting example is the way certain forms naturally express transition. Take something as simple as a mushroom. A mushroom moves from a narrow stem into a wide cap. Visually, it behaves almost like a funnel or a transformation of shape. It represents movement from one form into another. That idea of transformation may sound abstract at first, but I believe it appears everywhere in language and perception. Many words and concepts are connected through the idea of boundaries, transitions, crossings, and changes of state. Think about words like portal, gate, border, bridge, threshold. All of them describe movement between spaces. A doorway separates two rooms, a bridge connects two sides, a border divides one territory from another. In each case, the important thing is not only the objects themselves, but the transition between them. That leads to a larger idea. Imagine two spheres or two circles placed side by side. Most modern people would simply say there are two objects, but another way of seeing the situation is this: object, space, object. In other words, the gap itself becomes meaningful. The empty space between objects helps create distinction. Without separation, there is no sense of two. This becomes easier to understand if we think about binary code. In computing, 0 is just as important as 1. A 0 is not merely nothing. It functions as separation, structure, distinction. Without intervals, information collapses into noise. You can think of it this way: absence creates structure. Or, silence allows sound to exist. Music works the same way. A melody is not made only of notes. Pauses matter too. The spaces between notes shape rhythm and meaning. I think visual perception works similarly. Human vision often focuses less on isolated objects and more on edges, contrasts, and patterns. We recognize forms through boundaries. For example, imagine a black line drawn across a white page. Normally we say, "I see a black line," but perception can be inverted. You could also describe the image as two white spaces separated by darkness. The focus shifts from the object itself to the relationship between regions. That shift is what I call inversion. The mind is capable of switching perspectives, object to pattern, thing to relationship, form to boundary. And this may explain something important about language itself. Perhaps early language did not emerge only from naming objects. Perhaps it also emerged from perceiving relationships, transitions, separations, and recurring visual patterns. In that sense, human thought may be far more geometric than we usually imagine. We do not simply observe objects. We perceive contrast. We perceive boundaries. We perceive relationships. In many ways, we experience the world through patterns. And sometimes the empty spaces are just as important as the things themselves.